What's up, guys? Lately, we've been talking about Scream 7 a lot on the channel as it comes out in February of next year. With that in mind, we've been talking about a lot of like the positive things that we want to see and like a lot of these fun theories and all this other stuff, but we're not really talking about the things that we're worried about and the things that we don't want to see too much. So I figured today we would dive in and kind of talk about some of that stuff. Also, if at any point of the video my voice starts to give out or anything, I've been kind of fighting something of a sore throat, so I do it for you guys. But yeah, with all of that said, I threw together a list of 5 things that I really do not want to see happen in Scream 7, and today we're going to dive into those. Starting off at number 1, don't overcomplicate Tatum's story. I feel like Tatum's the exact character that they're going to overwrite. All her backstory really needs to be is that she is Sidney Prescott's daughter, but they proved with Scream 5 and 6 that with Sam, just having a compelling backstory isn't enough. You have to make them interesting. She had to have that conflicting feeling on whether or not she was going to be a killer like her father or a good, decent human being. And while I didn't entirely hate that for a character like Sam, I don't think that the character of Tatum in this movie needs any more baggage than she already has. In fact, I think the smartest thing that they could possibly do for the character is to keep things as simple as possible. Her backstory is going to be complicated enough, so let's not overcomplicate it. At number 2, don't pick too general of a theme. With Scream 5, they had a very clear concept with toxic fandom, but with Scream 6, they decided to go with franchises, and overall, I think that it kind of left the movie feeling like it never really had a theme. Rather, they wanted to make a sequel to Scream 5 and didn't care to do the legwork of coming up with an actual thing. Don't get me wrong, I enjoy Scream 6, but that would be one of my bigger gripes for the movie. Moving into Scream 7, I think we have a lot going on in pop culture that they could absolutely pull from. There is the obvious that everybody thinks that they're going to delve into AI, and I'm sure to an extent that they will. But I think that there still could be an interesting direction that they could take with some of the true crime that people are still really kind of obsessed with right now. So while I know the film will probably have a very heavy AI focus, I do think that there's still room for them to do something a little bit cooler with a different underlying theme, because a concept like AI, it's too broad in my opinion, and kind of being able to use it to complement another theme might be a good idea. And number 3, don't over stylize the film. I'm expecting a little bit of backlash for these remarks, but I believe that Scream 2 and 3 had a little bit too much of a distinct look to them when you compare them to like the original Scream. So much so that when you watch them back to back, it's almost hard to believe that Scream and Scream 2 came out a year apart. Like, just so drastic difference in like cinematography, but also style. Every character looked a little bit more polished, a little too cool, a little bit more 1997. And it seems when you get to some of the later sequels, there's a little bit more of an understanding to make these people kind of feel like everyman people, not, walking fashion icons of their time. And not only that, but with 4 and 5 in particular, there's a very obvious and clear, kind of callback to the way that the camera work looked in Scream 1996 compared to like 2 and 3, which have like richer colors, a little bit darker. I think the original movie was a little bit brighter, a little bit more hopeful, and I think that some of the later sequels have tried to pull from that inspiration. So coming into this movie, especially after seeing some of the set photos and knowing what Pine Grove is meant to look like, I hope that they do lean into it, because a lot of the architecture and landscape lends itself to what they did in 96. For number 4, I have do not make Ghostface too capable. As fun as the more recent Ghostfaces have been to watch, it's been interesting to see one that's a little bit more relentless, like we got in Scream 6, and then a little bit more coordinated and a little bit more straight to the point with what we got in Scream 5. I think we kind of need to go back to that, like, not clumsy. Like, I don't think we need a Ghostface tripping over his own gown. I think we just need to have in mind that the person under the robe is just an average suburban person, and that's something I think that the franchise has kind of forgotten a little bit in some of the more recent sequels. It feels weird that I have to say this, but like, a teenage kid shouldn't be a born tactician. He shouldn't be walking into a bodega and single-handedly disarming an entire store of people. let alone firing a shotgun with one hand. And before I dive into our fifth one, I just wanted to take a moment to say thank you to everybody who's been tuning into our more recent Scream content. For the past year, Tyler and I have been really trying to find where we fit within this community, and we are very happy to be, being welcomed into the Scream community the way that we have been lately. I think it comes as no surprise. It's both of our favorite franchises, so being welcomed with open arms the way that we have been and getting the reception that we've been getting compared to a lot of our other content does not go unnoticed, and it's very appreciated. Again, we don't make any money doing this, so all of the engagement that we're getting and all of the community feedback and the comments and the theories and everything, it warms our hearts, and it's also, like I said in the last video, it's giving me life right now. I absolutely live for this stuff. It's why I started the channel. It's why Tyler started the channel. We wanted to build a community so that we can talk to people about the things that we love and get to talk about the things that we love with people who also are passionate about those things. So again, just thank you guys very much. And for our fifth and final uh, hope not to see, uh, the fifth and final thing that I hope not to see in Scream 7 is I don't want to see some overly drawn out killer reveal where the motive is deeply rooted in something that happened 30 years ago. I think if the story is supposed to be moving forward in a direction that is lending itself to handing the baton off to Tatum, let the motive be something that serves Sydney and Tatum's, Tatum's story. I don't see a reason that we need to overly attach ourselves to Sydney. I get that this first movie will probably be a little bit more Sydney leaning. I have a feeling they're probably gonna, kind of roll these out the way that they did the Blumhouse Halloween trilogy. So with that said, first movie would be a little bit more Sydney centric. Second movie is a little bit more Tatum, while Sydney's kind of taking a step back. And then by the third one, Sydney's kind of just not centralized to the story, and it's Tatum's story moving forward. Um, with that in mind, I don't think that the reveal then has to attach itself to like Maureen Prescott or any of that stuff. But obviously, with the legacy characters we know to be coming back to this movie, I have a theory that that's exactly what we're going to get. All I ask is that it's not something that's, completely ridiculous, like some other long lost sibling or, something like that. We don't need it. I think we can all get down with like the Leslie Mocker theory because that the trail of breadcrumbs has been left. That makes sense to me. But I don't do some weird like there was another person that knew Roman's secret, and we don't need that. These movies have proven that they are at their best when you keep the reveal and the motive a little bit more simple. But that's going to do it for me today. As you guys can hear, my voice is kind of trying to give out on me. So if you made it this far into the video, thank you so much. If you made it this far, please like, share, or subscribe. They all help the channel tremendously, and we're trying to grow this thing as much as we can because we want to start doing lives and stuff like that, but we don't want to do that to an audience of two. So spread the word.